Hey, what's up everybody? Over here at hive number 4, about to get into them for another weekly inspection. However, this is going to be the last time I conduct weekly inspections. I'm going to change gears and switch over to bi-weekly inspections. So after today, the next time I'll be out will be in the middle of the month and then towards the end of the month or beginning of September. Just kind of depends how the days fall on the weekend and everything. So yeah, hive number 4 has been doing pretty good. They've slowly started to rebound from earlier this year. Not really too much to talk about. I mean, I know they have a marked queen. That was one of the very first queens I marked while this hive was still in a nuke box. And if you can see that or not, that's one of the honey supers I harvested this year. So it has drawn comb on practically every frame. I ran the supers as a 9 frame so they could store more honey, or the bees could store more honey. So the last frame I think is new berry foundation. But either way, we'll see how they're doing. The idea of providing a medium box or a shallow on some of them with drawn comb in combination with sugar water feed is for the queen and the bees to eventually start to expand the brood chamber into the top box and give them enough area for food stores. So I harvested honey last week. The top box has only been on for a week. I don't really expect too much other than the bees potentially coming up, cleaning out whatever residual honey was left over from the extractions. But over the next week or so, I would expect them to start drawing out more wax on some of the frames like that do have some bare spots, and for the queen to start laying in the top box. And the reason I'm pretty confident that this will work is because I did it last year. I provided a colony, I think it was number 3, with a medium box of 10 frames with brand new foundation, fed them heavy, and it took about 2 months for the bees to completely draw out all 10 frames and for the queen to start laying in practically every single frame. So I know it can be done. And I also left that box on that colony over the winter, and I think it helped them survive as well. So that's part of my overwintering preparations for this year, is providing medium boxes for all the colonies, feeding them heavy to where they can draw out all the frames that have new foundation, and eventually the queen will start expanding the brood chamber into that top box. The bees will create food stores and everything will be okay in the world. Alright, not much going on there. This is where it gets a little tricky with feeding a lot, is the bees will be honeybees, and they will use that food and store it where available. So it gets a little tricky because you can actually create your own problems in the form of a honey-bound situation. So what is this? 1, 2, this is basically the center, which is very typical. I don't think it's going to come up on camera, but if you do happen to see that, around the capped brood in the center, there's a lot of pupated larvae, which will be capped in the next week or so. And same on this side. See a whole bunch of eggs. I just need hers to start expanding outward into the rest of the frames. Have remained pretty calm this year. Yeah, as soon as, if you don't have a flashlight like I tend to use during inspections, if you just tip the frame like this towards the sun, I mean, pupated larvae, eggs, everything just, it lights up. And you want to see your larvae in a nice wet pool, you definitely want them to look wet. That means the bees are feeding them. And I'll tell you what, queens are easy to find when they are marked. So there she is right there. Let's see. Let me cage her real quick just because I want to check the rest of the frames and I don't want to run the risk of damaging her. There's only a few frames left. Yeah, she's doing a nice job. I'm going to keep an eye on that queen cup there. This is frame what? 9, 8, 7, frame 6. The last two frames are pretty new, so I don't really expect to see too much. I just want to see if they're... She hasn't started to lay here yet. And they're storing plenty of food there. Okay. Alright, let's get them put back together. They're building up. They're just kind of slow going with doing so. Hey, quick shot of the queen being released. Give them some sugar water and get them caged back up. There she goes. Alright. Let's get them some sugar water real quick. I think I have some. We also have a tropical storm that should be here Tuesday morning, I think around 2 a.m. So if you're not feeding your bees because there's a dearth, it's definitely a good idea to feed them if you got a storm coming in. All right. Alright, well, that does it for hive number 4, queen right. Few nice frames of brood. They're still slowly building up from being in a 5-frame nuke. However, they've been in that 10 frame for probably 2 to 3 weeks now, so just something to keep an eye on. Top them off with some sugar water, and the medium box up top was one of the supers I harvested, so it does have 10 frames of drawn foundation, unlike most of the other boxes I've provided colonies. So I think it's just a matter of time, maybe a few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, before the bees and the queen discover they have all that extra room and I start finding brood in the top box. Alright, so that does it for now. Hive number 4 looks good. I'm going to check on them come mid-August. I'm going to switch gears, like I said, to bi-weekly inspections. And yeah, that's it. So if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. And if you hit the bell, you'll receive notifications of future videos. Let's take a quick look. Actually, I was going to say at the front entrance, but this colony tends to do pretty well with inspections. I mean, not that it's a sign of colonies not doing well when the front entrance is very busy and chaotic post-inspection, but they seem to be doing okay with inspections, meaning inspections don't seem to disturb them as much. And I know they have a good amount of bees because I've been coming out in the early afternoon, around 2 p.m. or so Eastern, to like late evenings, maybe not late evenings, but afternoon hours, maybe 5 o'clock. And they have a nice cluster, like probably where my palm's at, a nice cluster of bees hanging out on the front entrance bearding, which is a sign that they have a nice population, because they're bearding for a few reasons, and one of them is to basically keep the temperature inside the hive regulated by having that many bees on the outside and everything. Okay, well, that does it for this week. thanks for watching, everybody. Another weekly inspection of hive number 4, soon to turn into bi-weekly inspections.